welcome to ShellShocked Outdoors. Here we are today giving another one of our instructive videos. Today we're going to talk about doing a little bit of turkey calling and duck calling. We had a lot of luck this year doing both, and we thought we'd just share. So Jake, why don't you tell us a little bit about turkey hunting? When you go out in the turkey woods, a lot of people want to go out there and think that you just walk out, shoot a gobbler out of a tree and walk home, but it's a lot harder than that. It's a lot more involved than that. What can you tell us about it?
Well, I wish it was that way, Jim, but when turkey season's coming up, we start about late February and the first part of March going and just scouting out places to go, listening. A lot of times, right before season, we start going and putting them to bed, as we call it, putting them on the roost. That way we know just about exactly what area they are going to be in during turkey season. I mean, they do move, but a lot of the time they're going to be pretty close to your destination.
Yeah. Well, why don't you give us some examples of a call? I see you've got some diaphragms here. Why don't you let's hear those calls.
All right, we'll start with a fly down cackle, just a call they make whenever they wake up and they're getting ready to pitch down, and just letting other turkeys that may be roosted around know that, hey, I'm getting on the ground, let's go.
That's good. And while you're doing that, Daniel and I are set up here away. We're just waiting for that. We're waiting for that bird to cross, and we're going to take care of it. What about the cluck and purr? Let's tell people why you cluck and purr too. What the situation is when you do that.
A cluck and purr is a good call to use whenever you've got one and you've tried everything. He's gobbling. He's not coming. Clucking and purr is just do it real soft, real soft.
Yeah.
Turkeys can hear. You do that, and a lot of the time, big boy's fixing to make a move.
Yeah, he is. That's true. That's a very productive call. What about the yelp?
Yelp is just a regular note of a turkey, just their average. I'm saying hello, just their way to communicate.
Right, and then there is the cutting or excited call.
The cutting of an excited hen.
Cutting of an excited hen. That's exactly the way to put it.
That's more of a I'm the boss type situation, and once you start turkey hunting, you will get in these situations. It's a great call to use if you've got a henned up gobbler that will not leave his hens. If you can just concentrate on getting the hens to come in, a lot of the time big boy's going to be right behind them, and a way that you can do it is by doing the cutting of an excited hen. Challenge her, be the more dominant hen, in other words.
Yeah. All right. And what is the sound? Of course, you don't want to make this sound, but the sound you hear when we're out in the woods, we're up in the trees, we're up against the trees. Thinking when we were out toward Boonville a few years ago, calling one in, and all of a sudden we heard that excited sound. I can't remember what exactly you called that, but when that turkey made that sound, you said, "It's over, boys."
That would be known as a putt. A putt is letting every turkey in wherever distance they can hear know that something is not right.
But can you make that sound by chance so people could hear that? This is a sound you don't want to hear. And first time I heard that, RJ stood up and said, "Boys, let's go to the house. It's over."
Yep,
And,
that's
situation. What comes to mind, RJ? What really comes to mind when you talk about different scenarios?
well, always the quick bang scenario is the one I always like to go for. You go out the night before, put the turkey to roost. You know exactly where his feet's going to hit the ground the next morning. You know a little bit about you. It don't always work out that way, but you know a lot of what's roosted around you and what might come into, you know, disaffect. But you always want to know where his feet's going to hit the ground, and you can be there, slip in the red zone as quietly as you can the next morning and get as close to that bird without spooking him as you can, and just stay quiet, let him do his thing. Whenever he hits the ground, that's when
Decide whether you want to do it. And you know, sometimes to me, you know, when I was hunting in the Washita by myself one time, that happened to me. The turkey was on the other side of the ridge where I was at. There wasn't any other turkeys calling. Well, you know, I could either pack it up and go home, or I could start hoofing it over the top of that ridge to see, you know, to see if I could have any luck getting him.
oh, it's hard.
It's turkey hunting.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes.
Hens is another thing. A lot of hunters, especially here in the state of Arkansas, have just had bukus of troubles with hens.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Arkansas hadn't had really one of the best hatches in the world in the last few years of turkey hunting. Hens in just so many different ways mess you up. I mean, you can go from having them on the roost to having hens that you didn't know were there fly down to him, and then they just carry him off. Sometimes it doesn't, but hens have a big factor in your hunt.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. They do. They do. I didn't even know the land. I went in there and started hunting it, and I used a method that an older man gave me. An older gentleman, he was a turkey hunter for years. But I'd go about 100, 150 yards. I'd call. I'd sit and I'd listen. I didn't hear anything. Another 100, 150 yards. I'd sit and I'd call. I'd listen. About the fifth time I did that, you know, I was a quarter of a mile deep into the forest. I got to a point, I called, and I was on top of a ridge, and I heard a gobbler down the bottoms. He answered me. And I got pretty excited. This is several years ago. In fact, I think it was the first year I hunted. It was my first year hunting turkeys. I situated myself on a tree real quick, got some brushes, started calling him up, and oh, he was hot. He was coming. He'd hit it. He'd gobble 4 or 5 times right at me, and chirp at him, and wait a little bit. He'd gobble, gobble.
Sure don't.
Well, I'll tell you what. Go out, get yourself a duck call, practice with it. You've got plenty of time before the season starts. Go get you a diaphragm, get you a box, get you a slate call, whatever you feel comfortable with. But whichever way you go, it's going to take a lot of practice and a lot of dedication. You put that dedication and practice in there, it's going to pay off, don't you think, boys?
Absolutely.
It's going to pay off. Well, until we see you next time, safe hunting, ShellShocked Outdoors. We'll